So I'm making this video because I spent about a decade purchasing stuff on AliExpress and probably have about tens of thousands in just camera gear alone. So I kind of know my way around that website. I know this video will be kind of a little bit around the place, so I'll include timestamps of all the things that I am talking about, so you can click through the most important things for you. But I'm gonna start off with just saying that I am not sponsored or anything, and I'm not even paid AdSense on YouTube, so I've tried to include as many affiliate links as possible from AliExpress, which gives me a small commission if you use them. It adds no extra cost to you as the purchaser. So I appreciate if you actually use the links that I'm linked down the description, and if you have any questions about any of the items, I'll try to answer as quickly as possible in the comments so that you can make an educated purchase. Yeah, I'm gonna start off this video by just telling a little bit about how I'm rigging off the Nikon ZR with just stuff that I purchased off AliExpress. It's like the cage and everything, so let's get to it. The main thing that you can see here, the thing I want to start off with, is actually this 3.5mm extension cable. It's a very small thing and it's like under $5 or so, but it just creates this rig. It makes it amazing, because now I have this very stealthy cable that lets me swivel around the screen. You can still run the 3.5mm jack up here and run like timecode boxes or microphones or anything that you would like. And to continue on that, I have also purchased this 3.5mm extension cable, which is a male to male, so I can plug the CableCreation extension cable into this one, and now I have my Rode video microphone plug into the top, and Bob's your uncle, and you have a shotgun microphone, which is very stealthy. Since the camera has 30 dB float, you have 30 dB float, and you can swivel around the screen. So this CableCreation is like the #1 thing that I would purchase if you have this camera specifically. We can also talk about the, by the way, if you see all this contraction on the side here, it's something that I'll get deeper into too, because a lot of this stuff I've purchased on AliExpress. But I'm currently testing my Comica VM40, which is a shotgun microphone, 30 dB float, that I also purchased on AliExpress. It was quite cheap just buying 2 shotgun microphones together with transmission, so I can have a wireless transmission of 2 shotgun microphones. And I've tested it against my newest microphone, which is the DD-S3 XLR microphone, connected into the DD-DX-HX, I believe it is, like a 30 dB float timecode microphone. So it's a very good comparison here. I'm just testing out how the different sounds. I have the door open and it's quite windy, so I'm sorry if there's noise from that. I'm also testing it against my DD-PR2 lavalier microphone, which is I have here. So I don't know which one I prefer. That's what I'm gonna figure out. So the next thing I want to talk about is the actual cage. This is the SmallRig cage. I had the original one, which had like a bar going over on the right side too, so it kind of blocked the 3 buttons and this record button. So I would not recommend to buy the old SmallRig cage, but this updated version is so much better. Like if I take off the lens, you can see that it's kind of like a half cage, where you have the cage side on this side, and then it just wraps around the sensor to keep the camera snug, with 3 connection points being here, here, as well as here. And then you have the 4th with this, of course, but because now you can actually use these buttons without any problem, and it still allows for stuff to be connected on the side. Still has Arca Swiss plate under, still has the quick release quick screw thingy. So I really do recommend this cage. I also bought like a very cheap knockoff version on AliExpress. That was horrible in comparison, and I would just go for this instantly. My next thing I want to talk about is actually V-mount plates. I have the SmallRig Smart version. I also have a newer, dumber one, But what these allow you to do is to use V-Lock batteries without the use of rods. So I would first off recommend to use this one. It's a smart version, and I'll talk about that first. So if I just extend my screen out, this is Arca Swiss. Just slide it in and then lock it into place without any use of extra quick release systems, because it's already built into the cage. And now I have a neat rig which gives me V-Lock possibilities, as well as having a little bit of a place here for putting my screen. So I can put it away if I'm going to use an external screen. I can even flip it over so that it kind of creates like a Blackmagic Pixis type of look where you have a side monitor. But I really do like this, as well as it being actually powered. So if I plug in a V-mount battery here, you can turn it on. You got 2 USB-C cables, as well as 3 D-taps. So you can plug in like monitors, you can plug in your camera, you can plug in anything you want. And once you plug in a battery, it will power all these things, disconnect the battery, it will discharge them. But the nice thing, you can hot swap them without having to plug out all the cables from the actual battery. So if you have the money for this, the SmallRig Smart V-Lock plate, then I would highly suggest you get this one instead of the other one. You can also talk about the SmallRig VB99 Pro, which I have 2 of here. It's a V-Lock battery that's from SmallRig. I also purchased these on AliExpress. It's the 99 watt Pro version. There's also 99 watt, which is not Pro. But if you can afford the Pro, I really do suggest just getting it instantly. I had the non-Pro before that I bought on Ali, but I sold them off just for one feature alone, and that's because these have 100 watt charging. So I can actually power my camera using one battery. Once it's discharged, I can plug in a new one and put this to charge. And since it charges with 100 watts, it's so quick to charge to 100%. So I can just keep these going by just using 2 batteries instead of having 3 or maybe even 4, which I had with the non-Pro. So really do recommend the Pro version. It has 2 USB-C inputs, which is also 99 watt out, I believe. Regular USB-C, USB 12 watt out, 8 volt out, and a D-tap. So yeah, get the Pro version. And the next thing, let's see my little list here, because I have so many things I need to talk about. The next thing I have on, which is this one. It's the underplate, which is a Manfrotto plate, so that I can use it with together with my more beefier Manfrotto tripods and monopods and stuff. And if I have like a smaller tripod, I can take it off this quick release, and now I have the regular Arca Swiss plate. So it's very nice to just have the options of doing both, and that's why I have mounted the Manfrotto plate on the bottom here. And this is the newer version, which is about $10. It works great. You can connect 2 screws, plug it into there, so you have like a no swiveling. Only negative thing about this rig specifically is that I mounted the screws too far back, so that I can't really get the full motion of my V-Lock battery. But that's just moving the screws, and it's fine. I just like how it balances once I put it down. So like there's no up or down. It sits flat on the Manfrotto plate. Another small purchase that I have is, let's see. Sorry, I have so much gear that I bought on Ali. I have these cable clamps. It's like a 1/4-20 screw. There's also the bigger screw, 3/8 or whatever you call it. But what's nice with this is that you can plug it into anywhere. I have one there, so I can plug it in. Also have multiple places on my actual cage, which if you just screw it in, now I have another place where I can run a cable. Like now I can run cables throughout this thing, and it can keep it much more neat. I usually use these in between my V-Lock plate here, because there's a few 1/4-20 screws there too. I also have on top here, if I'm using like a monitor and stuff, it just keeps the rig much neater if you just have a few of these scattered around on your cage. Another one of my favorite things, this cable. It's a USB-C cable, so you would think nothing about it. But for this specific rig with the Nikon ZR, it comes in so clutch because it's a thin cable, 90-degree stealthy ends on the USB-C cable. It's 480 megabits, so it's more than good enough to transfer speeds of this V-Lock battery to the camera. So I can plug this in with the same logic as I had before with 3.5 jack, plug it into my camera, and still use the swivel screen without it blocking the full rotation. So I can use it for vlogging still. I can use it for ups, roll, down, sides. Yeah. So again, very low stealthy look. And then I'll run that through here. And plug it in to my V-mount adapter. And now my camera is being run by the power of this V-Lock battery. If it runs out of juice, I'll disconnect the battery, place in a new one, and camera never turned off. This is such a good look. And I made a video about this before, but I just want to say again that this is one of the best accessories that you can buy on AliExpress for the Nikon ZR. Now, if you use monitors, I actually try not to use monitors anymore because of this big 4-inch screen that is on the Nikon ZR. But for any other camera, I've been using the Portkeys LH7P, which is 7 inches, which is amazing. The only thing that makes me really miss this is the fact that the Nikon doesn't have these squeeze options for anamorphics and good exposure tools. But if you are someone that wants to use an external monitor, it is a micro HDMI to full HDMI, which can be connected to the cage using the 1/4-20 screws. So you can just leave this in. You can use a clamp that comes with the cage, and you'll secure your HDMI port. Because yeah, the Nikon ZR has a micro HDMI port. I bought that on AliExpress for HDMI cables. I have this, which I bought on Ali, rather small HDMI cable that has a 90-degree bend on one side and is straight on another. I also had one that is 90 degree in a different way, which makes it like go downwards, and I would probably prefer that for the Nikon ZR. But I do recommend this brand that I've purchased 2 of so far. I just ended up giving one away. That was my favorite because I no longer use this screen. And if you're someone that uses screens, then of course you also should lock your HDMI cable to the cage. You're gonna run out of 1/4-20 mounts on your cage, but it's very nice to just lock off the HDMI cable so that it doesn't, go places. Same with USB-Cs and stuff, but when you have this stealthy of a cable, I haven't really experienced the need of locking it down, so I'm no longer using this, but I'll have that linked in the description too. For monitor mounts, I picked up the Tilta ARRI, which is like an ARRI locating pins on both sides. So you have ARRI locating pins on both sides. You can open it and you have the full 90 degrees on both sides. Let me do. You can also swivel so that you can show the monitor to other people or adjust it in sunlight and stuff. So I really do like this one, but as you can see, the one that I have mounted on the camera right now is this from SmallRig, which is the same type of monitor mount, which swivels as well as up and down. But I found with this is the fact that these screws loosen over time, so right now it's very loose. If I tighten it, it will unloosen itself by an hour. So if you're okay with just re-tightening it, or you don't mind it, gradually going down a little bit, then this is a very nice mount because it has their HawkLock, which makes me quick release it here and back on. So I can adjust this, like if I have HawkLock on both sides, I can now use it portrait. Can move it to the side of the camera, yeah, different things. Again, I have one of those cable clamps here because I also have a 90-degree HDMI adapter, which hides the cable away. But yeah, that's what I would use for camera monitor mounts. And before I picked these up, I swore by using the SmallRig ball heads. So I have multiple different ones of these, and they're amazing for monitors because you can tighten it here and it doesn't go anywhere. Loosen it up and you can adjust it all the ways. So ball heads is also a great option for monitor mounts. Right here I have the NATO clamp to ARRI locating pins, but I also have the 1/4-20 to the bigger, I always forget what this one is called, but it's also ARRI locating pins of the bigger screw. I have one that is 1/4-20 to 1/4-20. These can be a lifesaver for things like just mounting a microphone further away from the camera. You can use it for monitor mounts. You can, yeah, these I would recommend putting up a few of them, and they're not that expensive on AliExpress. Ulanzi MT-24 small metal tripod. This is one of my newer purchases because I just wanted something to quickly vlog with Nikon ZR, and I actually really did like this one. Of course, now I have the whole V-lock plate on, so I need to unbuckle that, take off the big V-lock plate with the V-mount battery, put that aside. And now, again with the cage, I have the Arca Swiss quick release, which, yeah, you could get like a little buckle here if you don't have the cage. And it also actually comes with one of those quick releases. But here, I don't need to. I just screw it off that one, put it on my tripod. So one disappointing thing with this, since you know I'm using this big ass lens, it will tilt. So it's not very stable. But these legs have a little trick in their sleeves, which they can be pulled out. And it's metal construction. So now of course you have a much taller tripod, but since I have this big of a heavy lens, I need to make two of these smaller, one of these longer. Whoops, didn't tighten it good enough, so that I can lean towards the longer tripod leg. And I've actually filmed speeches in weddings with this, where I've zoomed in to 150 millimeters, so it's very front heavy, and it was quite fine. But I would assume that most people would want to buy this for a smaller lens, which again, form factor of it is small. You can adjust it quickly here and put it into like a vlogging mode. You can extend it further if you want to, you know, vlog away further away. And of course, if you need a tripod and you have a smaller lens, then I'd say this is rather long legs to just have in your pocket. So quickly put it in again, and Bob's your uncle. It even has like a place for a cold shoe, so if you want to put your microphone here or timecode box or whatever you want to do, you have another point there. If you're not into gimbals like me, like yeah, I have my RS4 Mini, which I do like as a gimbal, and I do use, and I'll come back to some equipment for this too. If you don't like that, there is this NiYien SenseFlow gyroscope, which is just a gyro. So inside over here, there's like a stabilizing thing that just flows around and it knows where center is. So this you can plug into your cold shoe or hot shoe or whatever, as long as it's, you know, locked in. And with some finicking, you need to, you know, sync them up. But once you synced it up in the morning, it will be synced up throughout the day. So once you turn it on, you can actually get really stable shots without the need of a gimbal. The only concern with this is the fact that you cannot have on the stabilization inside of your camera or your lens at the same time. So once you're using this, you're locked into that you really want to use this. If you're someone that doesn't use the in-body stabilization anyways, then of course this is just an extra. For other cameras, some of the Sony ones, Blackmagic and stuff, you have a gyro inside of the camera. But for other cameras like the Nikon ZR, you don't, and this can come in really clutch. You need to shoot with a higher shutter speed than you usually do. So if you're someone who usually shoots with 180 shutter degree or double shutter speed of what your frame rate is, then you probably should double that even further, just to, you know, not get the swirly motion blur. And for some of you, you might have already noticed this handle, which was also purchased on AliExpress. So I have both the left and the right on my Ronin 4D, which is shooting me right now, which is much better than the stock handles that comes with the Ronin, because they're actually locked in, they don't go anywhere. And on my Nikon ZR, I just have the right one, and together with the cage, which creates a grip, I feel like I have very good security here, and I'm trusting it fully. Really do recommend it. It's nice for both the ZR and the Ronin 4D, and I'm sure it's good for all the Sony cameras and everything too. Now I want to get into the items which I used for all of my cameras and not just mostly the Nikon ZR. I can actually talk about my custom caps. My business is called Videografen, so I purchased a bunch of these custom hats and I could print out a logo. The cap is of decent quality, the print is of decent quality, and it's my favorite caps so far. And it helps that it has my logo on them. So if you need a cap that is specially designed with your logo or your name or whatever, pick these up. One thing I haven't really used, but I bought for my Tamron 35-150, as well as I believe it works with the Samyang 35-150, my most used lens, is this mount. It has like a felt on the inside, and you can disconnect the lens, and you slide it into like the little space between your connection point and the zoom ring, and there you lock it off into place. It comes with like an ARRI plate, which even has these little pins that goes in and out, so that it securely connects. And now I have a side mount as well for my camera. So as I mentioned, I have the ARRI under with my cage, and on the side now I have on my lens. So I can put it onto like a tripod, and now I have vertical shooting as well. So how is the audio? Comica VM40 is still recording. I don't know about this. Yeah, seems like it's recording. I'm sure this is recording too. So which audio do you prefer? Do you prefer the Comica VM40, which is really cheap on AliExpress? The DD-S3, which is also on AliExpress, but I purchased it from a dealership? Or this PR2? It's a lavalier microphone. So let me know. One very niche product that I have used a lot actually is suction cups. And on AliExpress you have a store which is for Ulanzi, and Ulanzi is a brand that I order a lot of things from. I believe my light over here, which is lighting me, is from Ulanzi, and a bunch of other things. But I have two of these suction cups, one that I haven't opened yet and one that I have, because I'm planning a road trip in the summer. On this one I also ordered ARRI quick release plate, but it's very nice because it's actually a NATO rail here. And I also purchased this, which is the same suction cup, only that it has a bunch of these screws, which is the ARRI locating pins of both quarter 20 and the bigger screw. And you just put it on the windshield. You do a few of these until you don't see the red anymore. And it's really stuck to your car. So yeah, I would recommend picking up a few of those. They're not very expensive, cost about $20 or $40 if you want the magic arm as well. Now I'm gonna show you something that I learned from a YouTuber who's doing documentaries, but I've been using these type of sack bags or, you know, cine saddles and stuff. It's a baby saddle. I bought this on AliExpress and it's at least under 100, but it was very cheap compared to the options of like cine saddles and stuff. And it's just like a baby carrier, which sounds ridiculous, but right here there's like a plastic plate, and you can collapse it so that it doesn't stick out. But if I put this up again, I now have a camera holder. So with this you can hold like shots really stable. You can even leave your camera if you're tired without the need of like an easy rig and stuff. Like I have an easy rig there. I'm never using it again because I'm using this. It works with the DJI Ronin even if you just keep it a little bit further away from you so that you have the sensors touching the ground. But with this I can keep it snug, I can zoom all the way in, and I don't even need to have on the stabilization because, you know, it sits there. And I've used this in weddings and everything as well, and just collapse it so that it doesn't stick out as much instead of having like the saddle, which, you know, it's bulky. There's even like a pocket here that you can put like a filter or something in between, and there's also pockets on the sides or in the back here which you can put extra filters. But yeah, this has been a really good purchase, and thank you. I forgot what his name is, but thank you for that suggestion. Another great stabilization method is of course a monopod and tripods and stuff. And for monopods is I've used a lot of the, I forgot what they're called, but I've used a lot of different brands and they're very nice to just keep the camera stable. But I wasn't really happy with anything before I got this one, which is the Coman M1 Carbon. So this is just a monopod that has 3 big legs, so technically it's a tripod, but it's a monopod with a quick release buckle here. So if I just hold this in, it goes to full length. You can lock it into place. It's rather tall. And right here I have like a Zhiyun quick release on, but I normally don't have that on. I have my tripod head, which is a fluid head. But this is a very nice way to just quickly go low, quickly go high. There's even like a leg mount here, which makes you able to swivel it. So you can swivel it even in the middle until you click it again, and now it's locked off. And this has been really clutch. This I'm very happy with. And I've even ordered the Coman tripod, which I don't have the name of, but it's like a SmallRig competitor. And it's in the mail. It should arrive within a week or so. Maybe I'll make a review of it. It's one of those where you have, again, the quick release buckle, and it goes down like the SmallRig does, only that it doesn't rely on like the suction of air like the SmallRig does. So this one, really quick, really nice, and I'm really looking forward to use the tripod, which is smaller and lighter, I believe, than the SmallRig version. So I sold off my SmallRig Tribex because it didn't really fit my travel luggage. And even though the opening mechanics was good, it wasn't perfect. I have a strange one, which is a filter. I have a box for everything, by the way. But again, it's from NEEWER. I bought it on AliExpress, and if I open this, I have a bunch of stickers on the back side. But if I open this, there is a few different types. There's one with ND filters as well, which comes as a pack. But this one is the reason why I purchased it, because it has these diopters, So this is the most heavy one, but what it basically does is that it creates like a macro of your lens. So right now I'm using the 35 to 150. It's a decent close focusing distance, but if I put this on, it actually turns into like a macro lens. I haven't used it a lot. I used it on some food photography. It turned out decent, not perfect. But when I was using like I think I was using the Blazer Remus 45mm, which has horrible close focus distance. Put this on and I could actually see the food at least. So it's very nice to have, and it's 82mm. So if you just buy a few step-up rings, you can use it for pretty much all your lenses, unless you have like a big Tokina Vista Vision or whatever you use. Since I'm doing a car commercial with the Ronin 4D in the summer, or at least I'm hoping to, I purchased CPL filters from K&F, which is K&F Concept. It's a well-known brand for filters and stuff. But I just basically bought a CPL filter as well as a mist filter, which fits my Tamron 28-75 that's on the DJI Ronin. So they're quite lightweight, and it gives me the possibility to have CPL filtration as well as mist filtration, or choose between them, on my Ronin. So I'm looking forward to test these more in the summer, but I bought them on AliExpress, and they're really cheap for what they are, and since the Ronin as well has internal ND filters, I don't need to have any other filters than the CPL and the mist. So again, with the Ronin gimbal, this one, you have, if you're someone that uses a lot of gimbals, I really do recommend purchasing this, which is the SmallRig shoulder strap. So I have two of these, so now I'm gonna open the second one. So it comes like this. The actual strap, which you can have any way you want, like a camera strap. It has these locking pins, which once you connect the briefcase handle onto the gimbal, you get a point of contact here, which you just instantly just snap this in, and it's stuck, and it will not go anywhere. So you can quickly just throw your gimbal away. I recommend everyone that uses gimbals to at least get one of these straps, because it's so nice to just be able to throw your gimbal away and just use your camera handheld. It works with 3 and 4, I believe. And what's nice with the 4 is that it locks off, like you can lock all the axes by just clicking a button. So you can even leave your camera on there without it, wiggling around. So again, going back to filters, on my Nikon ZR, I am using the Nisi Jet Mag VNDs, which is 1 to 5 stop, and then you can add like a mag lock 5 steps or 4 steps more. Like as long as you align the filter with this lens cap, it will stay on. If you misalign it, it will remove itself. So it's magnets, and it's an actual lock. So it's very nice. I can use mist filters, I can use ND filters, I can use lens caps, and everything is so seamless. But before I got this, I was incredibly happy with the Freewell version. It's a Freewell V2, and I'm still using this, just not as much as now that I got the Nisi. But the Nisi is much more expensive, and you need to buy all the different types of connections and adapters and stuff, while this you can get much cheaper. So it's basically, you have a quick release plate which you screw onto the lens, and then you have these little screws that you have on the side which locks the filter onto the lens. So now it's not going anywhere. If you want to remove the lens, you quickly just take this off, and you have removed the ND filter. The lens cap is magnetic, and it's also a built-in CPL filtration into this filter. So if you were to just leave it at 3 stops, you could rotate the actual filter onto the lens like this, and you would get like a free CPL filter built in. So if you just rotate it like this, you will see like the reflections of glass and waves and skies and stuff change out. Even now that I'm using this much more expensive NEEWER filter. I still find myself using this sometimes for like a B camera and stuff. I don't have it here because it's inside on my computer, but Thunderbolt 5 cables. I was a bit wary of buying off AliExpress because usually cables and electronics I don't tend to buy as much from Ali unless it's from reputable brands like SmallRig and Tilta and stuff. But I ended up buying this 120 gigabytes per second Thunderbolt 5 data cable, 240 watts, which I'm pretty sure is just a Thunderbolt 4 cable, but it's still a very cheap Thunderbolt 4 cable. Might be 5, I haven't really tested it, but it maxes out the transfer speeds on my CFast Type B cards and my SSDs and stuff, so I just use it as a very fast transfer cable. It can be found for rather cheap with 0.3 meters long up to 2 meters long, so I bought a few of them and I'm very happy with that purchase too. As I said, I'm filming with the Ronin 4D right now, and since I'm using the Tamron 28-75, it's an autofocus lens. I'm not really using the focus motor gears, but I'm using the zoom function like you see when I zoom in and out. That's because I have a Tilta focus ring onto the lens, and I bought a few of them over the years and they're all from Tilta, and I would suggest you pick up these two if you're someone that uses like the Focus Pro hand unit or Ronin or any other focus pulling system, because it creates a seamless fit. You buy them in different sizes. Like here, if you have a big lens, you attach it onto the lens and now you have focus gears. And again, all of those I purchased on AliExpress, and I would highly suggest you buy that too. I might make a separate video on just like all the Ronin 4D accessories that I recommend getting, where one of these is definitely one of them. I also have a bunch of bags that I bought off AliExpress, but it's one specifically that I want to talk about, which is again from Ulanzi. I buy a lot of things from Ulanzi. They have their own shop on AliExpress. This is the Ulanzi PK04 carrying bag, which is actually made for like Pocket 4 and accessories and stuff. But I use it as a neat organization system for all my wireless microphones. It's 2 layers of microphones, so it's inside here too. So I have about 9 of these DD-PR2 microphones. Yeah, this is just a very convenient way of carrying them. I have one more that I haven't really figured out how to use otherwise, but I purchased 2 and maybe I'll extend my PR2 collection. Like, I'm testing the limits with the 9 that I have, but maybe I could get like 1 or 2 more, but I can even fit in some batteries in here. So another thing that I want to talk about for the Ronin 4D is another thing from Tilta, which I purchased after 1 gig where I had a few washed out images, because I can't really have like a big on clamp matte box on this camera. But what this allows you to do, it's a Tilta flag, which is adjustable, so you can adjust it all the different ways. And it has like a ARRI locating pin here. It's not one of those retractable ones. Like, I could use it for my Nikon ZR2 if I really wanted to flag off something. So it's not like it's only for the Ronin, but I mean for any other cameras you kind of have the possibility to have on a big matte box, which with the Ronin you can't. So this, very nice. You can adjust it quickly, and it screws nicely on and secure. Now, for professional equipment that I bought on Ali but I sold, I have like the Accsoon Cineview 2 SDI, which comes to mind. I purchased that directly from Accsoon's own store. The main reason why I purchased it from there is not really because it was much more cheaper, but because I could also at the same time buy their little V-Lock adapter plate, which lets the Cineview 2 sit snugly in between the V-mount battery and the camera, and it's driven directly from the V-mount battery, so with just like a tiny cable. So if you need that type of transmission system, right now I'm using the DJI system, so I ended up selling it, but I really do recommend getting it from Ali, and I've linked for that too. So now I've come to the lighting section of this video. I have shit ton of gear that I bought off Ali, but these are just the top things that come to mind when I was thinking about this video. So let's start with the lighting. I have Ambitful collapsible softboxes. It comes in 40 centimeters and 60 centimeters. I bought that specifically because I was using Amaran softboxes, and they're kind of, they're kind of a nice price and everything, but they take a while to set up and pull down and stuff. The Ambitful ones, this specific one is the Ulanzi DS80, which I also bought on Ali, but I tried to find the link from this and it seems to be discontinued, which is a shame. But the Ambitful one is the same concept. It's the softbox I'm using right here, together with the Ulanzi light. The reason why I mounted this small inside of my studio is because I was tired of having like the big ass Amaran one, which is 80 centimeters, I think. So I mounted that, and it works decently for these type of videos where I don't really care about lighting. But the concept with them, and same with the Ulanzi one, is that it's quick release. So there's like a little bit of a lever here, and even if you have the small version or the bigger version, it collapses on itself and you lock it into place like this. And instantly I have a big ass softbox, which takes me a second to set up. I already have the grid on and everything, but of course if you want to travel light, you would take off all of that and it compacts nicely. And once I'm done shooting, quick release back, even to both sides, and it falls flat. So again, this is the Ulanzi version, this is the Ambitful one, and I'll only have the Ambitful one linked in the description, because that's the only one that they have available right now. But I would suggest getting the bigger one and the smaller one, just because then you have something that you can use in smaller spaces like this, walking shot or something, and then you have a bigger one for interviews. So for the shoots that I really need a big softbox, I stopped using softboxes. And of course I use reflectors and all kinds of sheets and stuff. But one thing that I could recommend you pick up, this is a big umbrella. It's the Godox 70-inch 178 centimeters umbrella, and it is available to buy on Ali. It opens up, let me see how much I managed. I managed the whole thing. Yeah, so it opens up to be this big, and that's a big ass softbox, right? But if you have a connection pin for your light, you can connect it into here. This diffuser is quite easy to take on once it's unfolded, once it's folded, and it creates a very nice wrap diffusion here, which leaves room for the stick to go through. And you just place this next to your talent and you have a massive softbox. It's a bit long, of course, but it takes a very little space for just throw it into your car. As long as you have the ceiling space and where you shoot, I will always bring this. I'm gonna enable tracking. So, because I really want to show you the setup I've got going. As you can see here, this is a clamp from NEEWER, which has like a 1/4-20 screws as well as a baby pin. So I can connect it to anything that's a rod system. And this is a very nice clamp. I've got two of them. Right now I have connected to like a Cupo type of extension rod system, which I don't really recommend, but it's there. I also have another one that I've used to put like at the end of this stick, like I put it here for instance for like a camera and stuff. But all of this accessories is connected to this wall mount, which specifically this one is the one from Manfrotto, but I have this version which right now is holding a light. I've bought 2 or maybe even 3 of this version. It comes in 135 and 170 centimeters, and I don't really see any difference between these two mounts, as they're both great. The only reason why I'm using the Manfrotto right now is because that one's more conveniently placed for this specific video. But if I were to be filming the opposite way, then I will of course use this one. Like, it's very sturdy, very stuck to the wall. The same with this. And the AliExpress version is about half or maybe even a third of the price of the Manfrotto one. And if you need something like this to, you know, connect your lights, your microphones, your cameras or whatnot too, then I highly recommend picking up these. They're extendable. So right, this one, I just detach this and you can stretch it out this far. You can make like overhead shots for cameras. Can connect it tightly here. I can put on like clamps like this you see with my microphones and stuff. And when I'm not using it, you can quickly swivel it away. The next thing I want to show you is the thing that's holding my monitor right now. SmallRig RAS200 light stand, which has like a 1/4-20 on top. So it's one of the downsides of this is the fact that it has a 1/4-20 top, as well as it being like this little lip here, so you couldn't just attach like a C-stand type of baby pin because of this tiny little lip. But it's nice that they included this extension, which is just a 1/4-20 to baby pin, which also has a 1/4-20 at the end. So if you screw this in, you can now use like a regular light. Size of it is very small. You unscrew it and create these little legs. Tighten it again. It has rubber feet and 3 levers which you can enable for it to be standing by itself. So I am about 188 centimeters tall, and it's very nice for just traveling, like at the destination weddings and stuff, or documentaries where you don't have that big of a light. And speaking of big lights, it's the one that's behind me. So the light that I have behind me, this light is the Zhiyun X100. And I bought this even after the X200 was announced, just because 200 watts is not really enough for most things anyways. And with this tiny little form factor, you can plug it into USB-C, turn it on, and you have like RGB. You have this little Fresnel lens, which creates a more central beam towards where you want it to be. There's another accessories that I bought on Ali, which is the Zhiyun X100 spotlight mount. That again, small form factor. Quickly attach it to the lens, and now you actually have a spotlight which beams specifically in one angle. You have these little rods that you can take in and out to shape the light, so you can choose to have like a full beam angle of all this. You can zoom it in, zoom it out, and then you have a little gobo section which you can take out, and you have all these type of windows and leaves and stuff. Takes a little bit of finessing. Okay, so now we have a window. It's just too close and a bad angle, but at least now you can see what a gobo does. So now I kind of fake the sunlight coming from a window and hitting this wall. The fact that it runs on USB-C, very big plus. Main drawback of that specific light is the fact that it's not Bowen's. There's their own proprietary light. But with this small adapter, you can plug in the Zhiyun X100 and plug in a Bowen's mount, and you have a big softbox if you want. What's nice with this too is that it also has this kind of a umbrella mount, so you can use the Godox umbrella that I was talking about earlier. So another thing that I bought on Ali for lighting is the bigger brother, which is the Zhiyun X300, which is a 300 watt light. And the difference between 100 watts, 200 watts might not be that big, but between 100 and 300 is big. And in addition, this can be overclocked to 500 watts, which is a massive increase. So I use this more like a key light, and then I have the Zhiyun X100 as like a hair light, or as you said, like a gobo light or something like that. I also have my Amaran lights and stuff like that, but I really do like this one. It has a built-in umbrella holder. It has the control unit, which can have a cable that runs down the light stand and just hooks to the side, so you have like a counterbalance. But this is really nice. I really do actually like that there's two parts. I know people are complaining that there's two parts, but the fact that I don't need to go all the way up to 2 meters and adjust the different exposure settings and white balance and stuff, I can use it directly down here or even using the app. For the times that I need a little bit more of a spotlight, I also bought this Nangguang NG 10X Fresnel, which is, it's under $50. It's a plastic contraction with like a lens that's at the end. There's not more than just a single lens on this, but you can plug it in, and now you can zoom this beam at too. So I have a video where I'm using this Fresnel together with, I believe I'm using it together with some Ulanzi lights or something, but it's the same principle with this, only with more power. It centralizes the beam angle instead of it spreading out. You get it more thoroughly through like that one specific spot, and then you can zoom it in more to make it more intense on one tinier spot. So that was everything that I wanted to go through today. I hope it was useful, and I hope you consider subscribing and liking and commenting and all those things. I might make more of these videos in the future if that's something you're interested in. It was a slower paced video. I'm rambling a lot without a script, but I have a lot of equipment. I have a lot of things that's coming in, and I'm constantly changing things out, doing tests. Yeah, have a good one.